Mover?
Mover is Chepkonga.
The mover to move reporting.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. You know, where I'm sitting, Chair, it is still part of the House.
Honorable Chepkonga, Chair the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. I was searching for you because your place is somewhere around here.
No, I'd come to sympathize with the ladies.
You're the chair of the Committee on Delegated Legislation.
Sympathize with the ladies around here.
Yeah, okay. Proceed.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Houses of Parliament Bicameral Relations Bill, National Assembly Bill number 44 of 2023 and its approval thereof with amendments.
Honorable members, I put the question, which is that the committee do report to the House the consideration of the House of Parliament Bicameral Relations Bill, National Assembly Bill number 44 of 2023 and its approval thereof with amendments. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Chairperson.
I thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the House of Parliament Bicameral Relations Bill, National Assembly Bill number 44 of 2023 and approved the same with amendments.
Mover.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. I also request the Honorable Iribai, who we worked with him at Kenya Post and Telecommunication, to second.
Seconder. Honorable Chepkonga, you know this very well. Who is your seconder?
Honorable Iribai.
Okay.
Madam Speaker, I second.
Okay, members, I propose the question, which is that this House do agree with the committee in the said report. I now put the question, which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Mover to move third reading.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Houses of Parliament Bicameral Relations Bill, National Assembly Bill number 44 of 2023 be now read a third time. Madam Speaker, I want to thank all members who contributed to this bill, and I'm very grateful. I would like to request Honorable Iribai to second.
Madam Speaker, I second.
I propose the question, which is that the Houses of Parliament Bicameral Relations Bill, National Assembly Bill number 44 of 2023, be now read a third time. Honorable members, we have the required numbers. I therefore put the question, which is that the Houses of Parliament Bicameral Relations Bill, National Assembly Bill number 44 of 2023, be now read a third time. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to give further effect to the procedures relating to matters of bicameral nature between the Houses of Parliament as contemplated in Chapter 8 of the Constitution of Kenya and for connected purposes.
Before we go to the next order, Allow me to recognize the following schools in the public gallery. Number 1, Kenyago Dandora JSS from Embakasi North constituency, Nairobi County. Number 2, Keru Boys from Mathioya constituency, Murang'a County. Number 3, Gitare Secondary School, Runyenjes constituency, Embu. Number 4, Lewa Downs Primary School from Buri, Meru County. Number 5, JKUAT Students Leaders from Roiro constituency, Kiambu. And in the Speakers Gallery, we have quite a number of schools today. In the Speakers Gallery, we have Our Lady of Mercy South B from Starehe constituency, Nairobi County. We also have Chinga Boys from Odhaya constituency, Nyeri County. We also have Nyanya Secondary School from Kitui Rural constituency, Kitui County. On the behalf of the Speaker and the House, we welcome you to observe the proceedings of the House. I will indulge 2 members only, member for Runyenjes and member for Buri. 1 minute each.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to welcome the students who have come to see what happens here in Parliament. I wish to, in a special way, appreciate the students from all the schools, but particularly those from Gitare Secondary School. It is a school very near home, and it is a school that is coming up very well, with very new energy, very new determination. They have assured me that they are going to be the best school in the entire constituency and the entire county. So I wish to wish them all the best. Let them know that they are young today, but tomorrow they are the leaders of this country. So let them take their time very, very seriously and let them believe in the beauty of their dreams. And we are there to support them. As their member of parliament, I want to assure them more to what I have done. I'll continue supporting them so that they can be better people in this country. So thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Buri, Honorable Rindikiri.
The mic, please. I thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to take this opportunity to welcome all the schools and students from various schools in our country and tell them welcome to the house that makes the laws of this country. Madam Speaker, Lewa Primary School is one of the best performing schools in Buri constituency. It serves both Buri constituency and Laikipia North constituency in a semi-arid area. These boys and girls are here to see the other part of the world. I'm sure this is the first time for many of them to come to Nairobi. For them coming to the House of Parliament, it gives them an incentive, a motivation to push further for their education. I have no doubt in my mind that this school will continue performing very well and is going to be a game changer for that area, particularly because they are looking for, it's a nomadic area, so they are looking forward to be the best examples to the other children. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
I'll give the final indulgence to Honorable Dorothy Ikiara. 1 minute.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also wish to join my colleagues in welcoming all the schools seated in the gallery to come and observe the happenings of this parliament. This is the place where registration is done. This is the place where all the laws of this country are passed. And I want to assure them, anything that is affecting them directly or indirectly, it will be handled in this house, and let them know that we are looking upon them because they are the people who will be seated here in a few years' time. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the teachers who have joined them and very proudly say I am a product of Meru, so the Lewa boys and girls feel most welcomed, and one day, one time, be sure you can also find yourself in this house. Feel welcome and journey masses back home.
Thank you, Honorable Dorothy, for welcoming all of the students in the galleries. The next order will go back to order number 4. Order number 4.
Order number 4, petitions. Order
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Thursday, March 21st, 2024, afternoon sitting. Reports of the Auditor General and financial statement for the year ended 30th June 2023 and the certificates therein in respect of: number 1, Anti-Female Genital Mutilation Board; 2, University of Nairobi Enterprise and Services Limited; 3, National Biosafety Authority; 4, Privatization Commission Mortgage and Car Loan Scheme; 5, Public Procurement Regulatory Authority; 6, Kenya Bureau of Standards; 7, Garissa University; 8, Wildlife Clubs for Kenya; 9, Water and Service Regulatory Board, Car Loan and Mortgage Fund; 10, Kenya Biovax Institute Limited; 11, Water Sector Trust Fund; and 12, Tourism Promotion Fund. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I beg to lay. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I beg to lay.
As the Deputy Majority Leader, the Deputy Majority Whip. You're done? You've laid. Next. Is the chair of which committee? The chair, National Cohesion. The committee dealing with national cohesion.
Okay. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday afternoon, 21st March 2024. This is the second report of the Select Committee of National Cohesion and Equal Opportunity on Employment Diversity Audit of Public Institutions. I beg to lay.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
What is the Yes, the chair, National Cohesion and Equal Opportunity.
Yes.
Move.
Yes, I've already. Oh, move.
Give notice of your motion.
Yes. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that the House adopts the second report of the Select Committee of the National Cohesion and Equal Opportunity on Employment Diversity Audit in Public Institutions laid on the table of the House on Thursday afternoon, 21st March 2024. Thank you.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
By Said MP for Galole.
Thank you, Speaker. This is a request for a statement regarding encroachment of community land at Jamhuri location in Galole constituency. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on lands regarding the encroachment of land LR number 30013 in Jamhuri location, Galole constituency. Honorable Speaker, Tana River County borders Garissa County at Ijara sub-county. Whereas the relations have been cordial, there have been developing boundary disputes between the two administrative units. The residents of Jamhuri location in Galole constituency have raised a concern on encroachment of community land by people alleged to be from the neighboring Ijara constituency. There have been evidence of erection of beacons, bush clearing, and raising of foundations for construction purported to be an airstrip. Honorable Speaker, most villages in Jamhuri location lie on a flood basin, and therefore community land that has been encroached into is the only land left for the residents to occupy and undertake activities for their livelihoods. The residents fear a possibility of insecurity following the encroachment of the community land by the residents of the neighboring constituency. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Lands on the following. 1, could the chairperson provide details of the ownership of the land in Jamhuri location, Galole constituency, and the identities of persons who have been illegally undertaking construction on the said land? Number 2, could the chairperson provide a report on any public participation undertaken prior to the land being alienated from the residents of Jamhuri location in Galole constituency? And 3, could the chairperson explain whether the land has been allocated for any government project and provide details of the project? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Where is the chair departmental committee on lands? The matter is to the chair departmental committee on lands. Do you have the chair or the vice chair? The leadership of the majority side, what commitment do you have in terms of the timelines for addressing the concerns?
Honorable Speaker, give us 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, so 2 weeks.
After the recess.
2 weeks granted.
Yeah, after the recess.
Yes. The Honorable Abdi Ali MP Ijara.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Speaker. I would like to make a statement regarding the mysterious disappearance of persons. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding the disappearance of Mr. Jabril Abdullahi Farah of ID number 35162780 and Mr. Hareth Ali Khalif of ID number 22934104. Honorable Speaker, Mr. Jabril Abdullahi Farah, a taxi driver from Ijara constituency who operates his business within Nairobi County, was reported missing on 14th February 2024 under OB number 43-14-02-24 at Ngara Police Station. If efforts by his family to establish his whereabouts have borne no fruit, and this has subjected his family to mental anguish and uncertainty regarding his well-being. Honorable Speaker, Mr. Hareth Ali Khalif of Mr. Hareth Ali Khalif, a businessman in Hulugo town in Ijara constituency, was reported missing on 18 March 2024 under OB number 0218-18-03-2024 at Hulugo Police Station. The sudden disappearance of Mr. Hareth has left his family in a state of distress and uncertainty, hoping for answers and a safe return. Honorable Speaker, under Article 29 of our Constitution provides for the rights of every person to freedom and security. This includes the right not to be deprived of freedom without just cause and the right not to be detained without trial. It is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following. What is the status of investigations into the disappearance of Jabril Abdullahi Farah and Mr. Hared Ali Khalif? What measures has the ministry put in place to ensure that Mr. Farah and Mr. Khalif are reunited with their families? And what measures has the government put in place to ensure the safety of businessmen operating in this country? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Chair, Administration and Internal Affairs Committee. That should be the Honorable Gabriel Tongoyo. Do we have the Vice Chair, Administration and Internal Affairs Committee in the House? The leadership of the majority side. This is a statement concerning disappearance of persons. Could you take responsibility in absence of the leadership of the relevant committee?
Give me, yeah. Honorable Speaker, this is a very sensitive matter, and we will make sure that as soon as we are back from recess, the response will be issued.
The Honorable Abdi Ali, you are satisfied the response in this matter can be delivered after recess?
She said what?
Yeah.
Yes.
When you raise an issue of concern, you must attend to the responses.
Yes. I'm satisfied.
What are you saying yes to?
That after 2 weeks, she will give they will give the report after 2 weeks.
The leadership is saying that the response will come after recess, not after 2 weeks.
That's okay.
That is okay.
Yeah.
Granted, the response will be given after 2 weeks. The Honorable Zair Janda, MP for Nyaribari Chache.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for this opportunity. I rise to request for a statement regarding the delay in disbursement of money by the National Treasury. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Budget and Appropriations Committee regarding the delay in disbursement of monies by the National Treasury to various ministries. Honorable Speaker, every year the National Assembly plays a crucial role in approving the annual budget and ensuring that funds are allocated appropriately to support the provision of essential services to citizens of this country. Honorable Speaker, it is imperative to note that the government revenue is largely through taxation to the people. In this regard, Honorable Speaker, the public rightfully expect efficient and expedient services that benefit them directly from the government. These services, Honorable Speaker, include health, education, security, and transport. Regrettably, Honorable Speaker, it is noted that the National Treasury has delayed in disbursement of funds to certain ministries, including the Ministry of Roads and Transport. Undeniably, Honorable Speaker, the condition of our roads plays a significant role in ensuring road safety as well as the contribution of the movement of goods and services within our country. Honorable Speaker, the delay in disbursement of funds for the road construction within the country and repair threatens to exacerbate the surge of tragic road accidents that has continued to afflict the country. Honorable Speaker, the urgency of this matter cannot be overstated as these delays impede the timely completion of critical infrastructure initiatives, and it is imperative, Honorable Speaker, that this matter be promptly addressed. Honorable Speaker, as I finish, it is against this background that I request a statement from the chairperson of the Budget and Appropriation Committee on the following. What is the status of disbursement of money appropriated by the National Assembly to the Ministry of Roads and Transport? Honorable Speaker, could the chairperson state plans that have been put in place to ensure timely disbursement of all appropriated funds for the current financial year to avert any delays before the end of this financial year? I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Where is the chair, Budget and Appropriations Committee? The Honorable Dindi Nyoro. Where are the chairs of departmental committees? Yeah. We don't have the chair. Finance is there, the chair of the committee in charge of water is there, the chair in charge of transport is there, the chair defense is there, the chair environment is there. I can see. Where is the chair, Budget and Appropriations Committee? Because the issue being raised is very crucial. It's not something we want to delegate. You want to address the matter for Budget and Appropriations Committee?
So, Honorable Speaker, as per our standing orders, the National Treasury is under the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning. Finance and National Planning being a departmental committee, and therefore the Committee of Finance would be well seized of this matter.
I thought this concerns oversight of budget implementation. Finance in this context is largely enabling us to get taxes. Taxes, Honorable Kimani Kuria. Yeah, I want any ranking member in Budget and Appropriations Committee on this matter. The House leadership, would you tell us something about this? Or maybe before you do, Honorable Gikaria, what is out of order?
Honorable Speaker, in line with what he's saying, I had the same supplementary question, or rather concern, on matters with the NGCDF. Honorable Speaker, the disbursement of NGCDF is even worse than Treasury. Because, Honorable Speaker, we are headed for a 2-week recess, which will be followed shortly by another 1-month recess. And the disbursement now are hardly at 20%, 30%. Honorable Speaker, I think it is important for the chair who has been given mandate on the NGCDF to give us some way forward on how do we go. Honorable Speaker, and to be honest, as I'm saying, we increased the percentage of bursaries to up to 35–40%. And you have not received that 40%, which means most of these bright, needy children are still at home. Second, Honorable Speaker, we were told to give money for junior secondary for purposes of preparing our students for laboratory practicals and things like that. Again, nothing is happening. No classes, no equipment. So maybe with your directive, maybe you could request the chair of NGCDF committee to be able to give us some way forward and when we expect some funding for us to oversight, Honorable Speaker.
Because the matter you are raising is tied to the question raised by Honorable Janda in terms of delay of disbursement. But would the leader of majority, the chair, Yeah, Honorable Makali Mulu.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as you rightly put it, this matter is a matter of budget implementation, and it falls squarely on the Budget and Appropriations Committee. So I think it would be better, Honorable Speaker, if the majority leader followed up on the matter, because the only issue of releasing money to finance the budget. And unfortunately, from where I sit, Honorable Speaker, I can't talk on behalf of the government. So I think the majority leader should be able to give a position on this matter. And as a House, I think we're also tired of being given promises which don't seem to hold any water. As Honorable Kakaria is saying, Honorable Speaker, the last time we got any communication from Treasury, matters NGCDF was every month we'll be getting 10 billion. So we are going on recess this evening. Next week, the month is ending. So I don't know whether they are going to extend the month so that the month of March extends up to mid-April, because we expect to have received the money so that when the members of parliament go home, they can plan on how to implement projects which have already been approved by the board. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Jared Ukelo.
I thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and allow me to take a tangent from Honorable Gikaria. Honorable Speaker, on Tuesday of this week, I raised an issue with the substantive speaker, and he gave his directives. It was pertaining to a communication that emanated from the NGCDF board to our respective fund managers as regards removing toilet component, building of toilets from the proposals that were submitted last year. So whether this is filibustering or gerrymandering in order to create inordinate delays in disbursement of funds, I don't know. But the Speaker did give a ruling that the majority leadership was to present an answer before us yesterday. Honorable Speaker, that was not done. Now this House, besides the fact that it never legislates in vain, much less the pronouncement of a speaker cannot be ignored, Honorable Speaker. We reckon that this is our last day before we break for our short recess, Honorable Speaker. Now that communication has adverse effects on the nature of disbursements that will go forth, because part of that communication indicated that constituencies will not be funded until they tinker with the entire proposals, Honorable Speaker. We are only 2 months into a new round of financial cycle. And if we allow these kinds of, monkey business to permeate this House, then I'm afraid we are going to fall short of the expectations of the electorate. Today, as we speak, I know in a week's time, schools are getting closed for the April holidays. And immediately they report back, teachers want money because they cannot operate schools without money, Honorable Speaker. We are 2 months into the end of this financial year, and yet constituencies have received less than 20%, Honorable Speaker. And there was a proposal advanced by the Treasury that every month they were giving out 10 billion shillings. They have walked back on all these promises each time, Honorable Speaker. So where are we? And what is the future of our children? A country that does not pay credence to the welfare of children is a dead country, Honorable Speaker. They pay much more attention to housing than our children's future. I mean, I don't need a house, but I've been forced to pay for this house. So, Honorable Speaker, this pronouncement that came from the Speaker on Tuesday as regards vitiating that kind of communication from NGCDF board must be addressed now. Because if we don't, we are breaking out, going out for our recess. We will come back when all the damage shall have been done, Honorable Speaker. I seek your indulgence, I seek your direction on this matter right now.
Honorable Jared Okello, I'm told the matter you are raising was responded to substantively by the vice chair of the committee in charge of CDF. That was yesterday. So you can follow through the report and what should happen in that regard. The leader of majority, this is not for debate, but I lack directions in terms of how to treat this statement. The chair committee in charge of budget and appropriations is not in the House, and this statement is directed to the committee. What commitment can you give on behalf of the House?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, let me first once again appeal to all our chairs to be present in the House. And most of the chair of budget, because he's always in the House when the budget process is ongoing. But other times, never in the House. And I am constrained now on what to say because he would have been better placed to tell us where they are on budget implementation. Honorable Speaker, I was being interrupted by Honorable Mboko, who is saying when I was chair budget, I used to attend the House, and it's true. So we'll ask the chair of the Budget and Appropriations Committee to be available in the House because he's the one who's better placed to tell us where they are on budget implementation, including the disbursement of funds. But on NGCDF, Honorable Speaker, I can confirm that as was committed to by the Cabinet Secretary National Treasury, they shall be disbursing 10 billion shillings every month. And even this month of March will not be an exception. They will disburse the 10 billion shillings. The other disbursements to the ministries, I know that has been ongoing. There could have been challenges with shortfall in revenues. And I want to believe that towards the end of the year, and even in the run-up, I am certain we will probably be dealing with a supplementary budget when we resume from the short recess. And that could be some of the reasons why there has been a slowdown in the disbursements pending that supplementary appropriations bill. And Honorable Speaker, lastly, this morning, as His Excellency the President was launching the medium-term plan for the years 2023 to 2027, spoke at length on the issue of budgeted corruption. Honorable Speaker, you know, this is a House that is charged with the constitutional mandate of preparing and approving our budgets. And I want to believe, even as the President spoke to other players in the budget-making cycle, he was also speaking to those of us in this House serving in the departmental committees like that of Agriculture, chaired by the Honorable Mutunga, and all the other departmental committees, that since we will be dealing with the budget estimates in the next few weeks, we must be careful to scrutinize with a tooth comb all budget lines to ensure that there is no budgeted corruption coming either from the executive or even any budgeted corruption being budgeted for from this House. Because the President was very emphatic on that point. I think it's important that we repeat that even as we push for disbursements, we be aware of what is popularly termed as budgeted corruption. The Comptroller of Budget has spoken to it, the Auditor General has spoken to it, and we must be alive to those issues as a House and as a budget-making House. And therefore, even as we push for budgetary disbursements, the next checker releases, let us also be alive to that issue of budget corruption, Honorable Speaker. And I'll pick that matter up with the Chair of the Budget and Appropriations Committee or the Vice Chair. I also see she's also not here, and they should be able to appraise us when we resume after the recess.
Majority Leader, the point you make last is very critical. Maybe just to indulge you as the topmost leader of the House below the Speaker, for the sake of the MPs who are here for the first time, where do they get the budget estimates and the budget lines. Because we pass budget here blank. You may be passing here as a representative, but your constituency is getting nothing. Would you guide the House on where these budget estimates can be found?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Maybe for the benefit of those who missed the induction at the beginning of this term, Honorable Speaker, and also to refresh our minds, budget estimates are tabled here before the end of April. Therefore, as soon as we come back before the end of April, I shall table the budget estimates. The big books that we usually table at the clerk's table here. And thereafter, you can access all those details from either from the table office or the parliamentary budget office. Should you want to know whether there is any program or project that you expected to have been budgeted for in your constituency, you can ask someone in the parliamentary budget office to help you to drill down the numbers and be able to see what is there. And even at the time, Honorable Speaker, we are passing the budget, it's also good, Honorable Speaker, because many a times budget estimates, including the appropriations bill, is usually passed by about 50 or 60 out of 349 members. Then we all start complaining about things that you already passed yourself in budget. So it's important that this time we be available and we scrutinize the numbers, as I said, with a tooth comb, and be wary of that issue of budgeted corruption, Honorable Speaker, because it has been spoken to by none other than His Excellency the President this morning. And I thought it was important that since we are moving to the budget-making process, we appraise ourselves also with what is going on.
The Honorable Mboka wanted us to leave this. Do you really insist you want to say something beyond what the majority leader said? For 1 minute only, because we still have so many statements.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I'm very glad the leader has spoken about budgeted corruption. And as honorable members, when we shall be making the budget, Honorable Speaker, we should really look at what we are doing. Few days ago, and including today, I have been wondering about the ministries of energy, only to realize that my constituency only got one project for electricity. Yet we know when you look into the budget, other people get more, even up to 14, 15, 16, and 17. This is a matter that parliamentarians, as we sit here, we cannot afford to allow each other just drain the efforts of other members of parliament completely, to an extent that you can have so much while other people have nothing, and they have no chance of any time also representing their members very well. This is happening in the Ministry of Energy, this is happening in the Ministry of Roads, this is happening in the Ministries of Agriculture, and those chairpersons must actually come up as we do the budget. We must actually be fair to other members. Where has sanity gone? Where we can even allow, for instance, the Ministry of Energy to have every member of parliament have an equal share of money to give transformers to his constituency. Who will die because of that? Must you have too much while others are having nothing? The same applies to roads. So as we deal with this matter of budget coming, that is what you're actually talking about, leader, and I support you plus the president. That's part of budgeted corruption, which we should handle. And we should call to order those who will be in charge of budget when they come here, so that we see how much, in terms of distribution, these resources are done to all constituencies. That's what I wanted to raise, Honorable Speaker. I'm not a happy legislator this afternoon.
Why are we intervening or seeking interventions as if we are debating a statement? What is the interest in the matter, honorable members? Honorable Kangogo Bowen, would we allow Honorable Kangogo to be the last to speak on this one? Because we don't debate statements. Yes, Honorable Kangogo Bowen, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, I don't agree more than what the Honorable Leader of Majority, Kimani Ichung'wah, has just said. That actually, as chairs of committees, like myself, as the chair of water and irrigation, chairs of committees, Honorable Speaker, as we budget and also we engage the ministries with oversight, we have also a certain limit. We work within the ceilings we are given. And thereafter, the procedure in this house is that when we are done as committees, we present before the Budget and Appropriation Committees, who then presents to Treasury, and then comes back to this house. Like the Leader of Majority has just said, in many cases, we've been passing a budget here when we have like maybe 5 members on the other side, 10 members on this other side. We don't interrogate the budget, including some members of committees. You know, a member of committee, like a member of my committee, comes and denies their own budget here in the floor of the House because he's not been keen during when we are presenting the budget. So we want to ask members, let's be keen. Then number 2, Honorable Leader of Majority. Let the chairs of departmental committees own their budget. If there is a way that the chairs of committees can own their budget, so that when the budget is altered in Treasury or by Budget and Appropriation Committee elsewhere, I can say, this is not my budget. Yes, as a chair of what I can say, if there is anything we had not agreed in committee, Honorable Speaker, you allow us to deny that budget in the floor of the House. So that these members in the Budget and Appropriation Committee going to mutilate budget or the Treasury mutilating the budget of this House is not be allowed. And also, we should be allowed to move an amendment here in the floor of the House, and all of us, we can agree or reject those amendments. So that we sometimes, when you raise an amendment, you are told you have to agree with the chair of budget first. And if the chair of budget refuses your amendment, so it is thrown away. So I want all of us, so that we don't sit and just say hi, nay, nay, and you don't know what is hi and you don't know what is nay.
Lastly, the Honorable Mwashako, the MP for Undanyi.
Thank you, Chair.
Are you in the Budget and Appropriations Committee?
Yes, I'm a member of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, Chair.
Okay. 1 minute only then.
First, I want to really agree with the Majority Leader that as Assembly, National Assembly, as Budget Committee, as all the committees of the House, we must refuse, we must raise above the issue of budgeted corruption. Chair, I know there are a few things that have been mentioned that you'd would love to have the Chair of Budget and Appropriations Committee bring in a report on the implementation status of the budget. I think this is something that I will take to my chair, so that then with time, as we come back after recess, we can have a report tabled to this House. But having said that, Chair, I agree that there's an issue of budgeted corruption. But many times people here in this House, some members of this House, tend to throw tantrums to the members of the Budget and Appropriations Committee without understanding the basics that the Budget Appropriations Committee works. Chairmen of committees in this House, when they appear before a Budget and Appropriations Committee, we try as much as possible not to amend, not to make any change on what they propose, Honorable Speaker. And I want to say that many times...
Leader of Majority. Honorable Mashako, just a minute.
Honorable Speaker, you know, I was keenly listening to the prospective governor for Taita Taveta County, who is a member of the Budget and Appropriation Committee, saying that members are throwing tantrums. And you know, tantrums are thrown by small babies. Especially 2 to 4-year-olds are very good at throwing tantrums. When I look at all these members, honorable members of this House, I don't see a 2 to 4-year-old who can throw tantrums. And I know the Honorable Dan has been a member of the Budget and Appropriations Committee since the last Parliament. He was actually my member when I was the chairman of the Budget and Appropriations Committee. And you know what happens. When you hear members raise issues about the conduct of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, I would want to advise Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Dan, that he is now treading on very dangerous grounds. He knows what happened to the Budget and Appropriations Committee in the 11th Parliament. He knows what happens. He might have not been in the House, but I can appraise him on what happened, courtesy of the late Jacoyo Midiwo. When members of the Budget and Appropriations Committee in the 11th Parliament did certain things, and when other members complained, such words as throwing tantrums were used. And that Budget and Appropriations Committee of that House ended up being disbanded. And for the rest of the term of that Parliament, that work was being done by the liaison committee. So I would kindly ask the Honourable Dan to withdraw that statement of members throwing tantrums. Carefully listen to the complaints that are being raised by chairs of other committees like Honourable Kangogo, the issues that have been raised by a seasoned member like the Honourable Omboko. There are issues that you need to have some retrospection on in the Budget and Appropriations Committee in terms of how you engage with the membership of the House, with other committees, and ensuring, as you say, that the issue of budgeted corruption does not find its way in the budget-making process within Parliament. And I therefore beg you to, my brother, to withdraw that statement.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I would withdraw that term throwing tantrums, but I must say that what Mheshimiwa Kagogo spoke about, Honorable Kagogo indicated that nothing can be done without the chair of Budget Committee, and he even indicated that whatever they do in the committee, they still have to consult the chair of Budget Committee for anything to happen. So I withdraw the throwing of tantrums, but I want to say, and I apologize, but I want to say the remarks by Chairman Kagogo that nothing happens without consulting or Chairman Budget approving or something like that, it is not factual. Chair, as I finish.
What you are required to do is to withdraw and unequivocally apologize. And as you do that, Honorable Mwashako, there is nothing members talk about that they do not know. By the way, take this coming from the leader of majority very keenly. I can assure you, the members of the House appear to me to be modest, deliberately, because they are being watched nationally. But they're not speaking in vain. They're not speaking in vain. And take the caution coming from the leader of majority very seriously. Remember, the Budget and Appropriations Committee has a term of 3 years, but it has been disbanded before midterm. So why don't you just commit, if you have the power to do so, as to when you want to respond to this statement as Budget and Appropriations Committee?
Thank you, Chair. I do apologize on that term I used and withdraw. And if you allow me, I'll consult the Chair so that we can, immediately we come back from recess, we can have an appropriate response to the statement sought by the Honourable Member. And as I sit, Chair, if you allow me, I just wanted to add what Mheshimiwa Malemba said, that even as we look at budgeted corruption, we must also try to avoid the skewness of projects that happen in this country. There are areas in this country, Chair, that indeed, though we know that every part of Kenya needs to get projects, but we have areas that have lagged behind. We have projects that come from ministries and agencies as the budget comes to this House, that are totally skewed. So we need also to find a way of getting to balance the projects that happen in this country, so that each part of Kenya must feel that they enjoy the national cake. Thank you, Chair.
Members, we have so many statements and requests. I wanted us to end this at that. Honorable Chepkonga, what is burning? Can you use only 1 minute, please?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. You know, I was listening to Honorable Dan Mwashako, my very good friend. You know, we have a problem. Mr. Speaker, you know, when you sit in a committee, you sit for and on behalf of all the other members. Don't use your position to enrich your constituency. You know, every constituency is entitled to a piece of the cake that belongs to the national. It is not that when you take 300 million shillings and put last mile in your constituency, you become the most popular. In fact, people will still throw you out. You know, it is not that just be frugal in the manner in which you conduct yourself in the committee. What about some of us who are chairs of select committees? We are not departmental committees. So what do? Are we supposed just to cry here? You know, so what we are seeking, Mr. Speaker, and what we are requesting, the members of the Budget Committee, please, don't take us to the route where you want us to mention that this member, and we did that in the 11th Parliament, where members of the Budget Committee in the 11th Parliament gave each member gave themselves 60 million shillings. And we asked them, so you've given yourself 60 million shillings. What are we supposed to do, some of us? And we can withdraw our support to you. When your term comes to an end, which is 3 years, we will withdraw that support in this house. And then we will see what will happen to you. Yeah, you know, Mr. Speaker, I think let's tell one another the truth. We are very kind to one another, but let us be fair. Let us be reasonable. Let us act within the constitutional limits. Let us not do things that will disadvantage some other person. And you see, they say leadership should be selfless. Let us not be selfish in the manner in which we approach issues that touch on our constituencies. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The statement requested by the Honorable Zahir Jianda will be responded to the first week when the House comes from recess. And I would request the leadership on the majority side to communicate that to the chair of the committee. I want to leave that. Honorable Makali Mulu, there is nothing called just 1 minute. You are old enough to know, and I know you know, when something is out of order, you stand on a point of order.
Do I have a mic?
I've not granted you the chance to speak. Just on account of rank only, Honorable Makali, I will give you an exactly 1 minute.
Yeah, you know, Honorable Speaker, where I come from, they say when you see an old bull making some noise, there's always some. Honorable Speaker, the last time I checked, all the departmental committees in this house are chaired by that side. We have the liaison committee where they all sit. Let's not be harassing this plenary with issues which can be sorted in the liaison committee. I think that needs to go on record. That we have a liaison committee this parliament where Honorable Kagogo sits, where Honorable Koech sits, where all the departmental chairs sit. Can they discuss these matters there?
Order, Honorable Makali. Honorable Makali, you're so wrong. You chair a committee of the House on behalf of the House, not of any side. So it can't be that way. It can't be that way. In fact, don't argue with the Speaker, Honorable Makali. All members of the committee participate in the election of the chairs. It's not a chair is not a chair of this side. Yeah. So the response to that statement will be given the first week. The first week, the House will resume from recess. The Honorable John Paul.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to request for a statement regarding grade discrepancies in Kilalai Secondary School. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44.2c, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Education regarding grade alteration and discrepancies at Kilalai Secondary School in Igembe South, Meru County. Honorable Speaker, on 8th January 2024, Kilalai Secondary School received results from the 2024 KCSE examination highlighting the performance of the candidate. These were confirmed as being the official Kenya Kenya National Examination Council, NEC, research for the school. However, on 27th January 2024, the school received another nominal roll containing conflicting results. Additionally, it is noted that the text message received by individual candidates indicated different results. Despite effort by the school to liaise with the Kenya National Examination Council to rectify these discrepancies, the situation remains unsolved. Honorable Speaker, this inconsistency in the grade has led the anxiety amongst affected students who now face challenges in applying the institution of high learning. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of Departmental Committee on Education on the following. Number one, what measures has the ministry has undertaken to resolve the issue at Clarlai Secondary School and any other school experiencing similar discrepancies in grading? Number two, what plans has the ministry implemented to ensure that the students will promptly, I beg your pardon, Mr. Speaker. Number two, what plans has the ministry implemented to ensure that the students will promptly receive the correct results and prevent the disqualification or exclusion from the ongoing higher learning intake? And number three, could the chairperson expound on the measures the ministry has put in place to prevent the occurrences from recurring, to ensure integrity and uphold the standards of our education system? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable, the statement is committed to the Chair, Departmental Committee on Education. Is the Chair in the House? Yes, Vice Chair, Honorable Malulu Njendi. How long will you take to respond?
Chairman, the last week of our recess, we have activities to visit several universities for oversight activities. So we'll invite the CS Education on 9th, then give a report either on 11th or the following week. 9th of February, April.
9th of?
April.
Is that satisfactory, Honorable Paul Murigi?
Notice of, I'm not satisfied, Mr. Chairman. The students are applying for high school, for the university intake. And Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Murigi, I know how urgent your matter is. It's a matter affecting very many students across the country, not just your area. But it cannot be any sooner than the Vice Chair is mentioning, because the House is going on recess.
But you know the problem now, Chairman, Mr. Speaker, is that this secondary school, this particular one, they have received the results 3 times. The one which the student applied for the text message, the nominal roll which was provided for the school on 8th, and another one which came with a conflicting result on 27th January. So that's why this matter, Mr. Speaker, becomes very, very serious. So maybe...
Is it possible for the Departmental Committee on Education to consider this matter during recess so that when the House resumes, we have a report, not just concerning this particular student or school, but several others whose petitions were sent to the Kenya National Examination Council?
Speaker, when you look at the schedule we have as a committee, just like I've explained, the week from 2nd to 5th, we have already scheduled activities with universities in this country. So the only time we have that we can have a meeting to look at that matter is the week from 8th, when we resume Parliament on 9th. So we can only invite the CS on 9th of April to give us some information, then make a presentation on 11th of April. That's the only feasible time.
So which date did you say you want to respond? 9th or 11th?
Chairman, when we invite the CS on 9th of April, then after receiving a response from the CS, we can actually report on 11th.
Yeah, so Honorable Murigi, that is reasonable. And all members whose constituents are similarly affected may attend the committee proceedings so that the matters are addressed at once. It is so directed. The Honorable Titus Lote on special request.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order number 44-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Lands regarding the claims to land in West Pokot, Kacheliba constituency by the Kerio Valley Development Authority and the impending eviction and displacement of residents in that part of the country. Honorable Speaker, the Kerio Valley Development Authority, abbreviated as KVDA, has laid claim to land in West Pokot, Kacheliba constituency, Kapchok ward, citing ownership dating back to the 1980s. However, the legitimacy of this claim is unclear, with no evidence of documentation or adherence to the legal processes governing land transfers. The land in question spans to an area of approximately 54,000 acres, and it is the ancestral home of thousands of people in Kacheliba constituency. Notably, Honorable Speaker, there are over 19 institutions, including schools, early child development centers, ECDs, health facilities, and the land which have been operating over for the last 4 decades. Honorable Speaker, the proposed eviction by KVDA has caused concern and raised uncertainty and fear among members of the community in Kacheliba constituency, Kapchok ward. Importantly, the arbitrary placement of beacons by the KVDA team on a Sunday when government officials are supposed to be resting, and the lack of transparency surrounding the purported land acquisition has sparked anxiety, raising questions as to the rationale of the eviction. Entire administrative areas, such as Kamechua sublocation, as well as Konyao, Kopeyon, Leyo, and Kapien sublocation will be directly impacted by the planned eviction. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee of Lands on the following 2 matters. 1, could the committee chair inquire into the report on the purported ownership or acquisition of the land by the Kerio Valley Development Authority? When and under what circumstances KVDA acquired this land? And 2, could the chairperson enumerate measures that the ministry intends to take to safeguard the rights of the concerned community and the critical institutions that have been established, ensuring that the land remains secure and free from the unwarranted encroachment by KVDA? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Chair, Departmental Committee on Lands, is in the House. Let me direct in order to save time that the response thereon be delivered by the first week when the House resumes from recess. Honorable members, before we continue, allow me to recognize the following universities and institutions present in the House to observe proceedings. There is Machakos University, based in Machakos town in Machakos County. There is Olserian Secondary School from Narok North, Narok County, and there is Lake Solai Secondary School from Rongai constituency in Nakuru County in the public gallery. In the speaker's gallery, we have Brookshine School from Kasarani constituency in Nairobi County, and also Kanjalu Girls from Tigania West constituency in Meru County. You are all welcome to observe proceedings of Parliament in the House of the National Assembly. Honorable Mutunga, the list is very long and members are attending to other businesses outside of station. Let me allow you only to welcome all those institutions to the House of Parliament.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I do welcome all the students who have come to see what members of Parliament do and how law is made, and especially the girls from Kanjal Girls. Honorable Speaker, that's my best girls' school in the constituency, and it's doing extremely well, and we are very grateful that they are able even to come and learn what we are doing here. To all the others, you are welcome to this House of Parliament, and we are happy to see you. So look forward to becoming one of the people seated here, that you may be an influential person in this country. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. The Honorable Gertrude Mbeyu, MP for Kilifi County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to request for a statement regarding erroneous classification of mnazi as an alcoholic drink in the crackdown on illicit brew. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration, Internal Security, regarding the crackdown on illicit brew in the Coast region. Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Interior and National Administration recently launched a crackdown on illicit brews in the country, including the Coast region, following a directive by the Cabinet. The nationwide measures have resulted in suspension of all licenses issued and closure of outlets selling alcohol and other brews. However, in the Coast region, the crackdown has erroneously been extended to mnazi, which is not an illicit brew. Honorable Speaker, mnazi is a traditional drink that defines the heritage of the Agiriama people and is naturally tapped from coconut trees without any additives that would render it manufacturable drink that could be subject to being declared illicit. Its erroneous classification as an illicit brew and the crackdown thereof has negatively affected and caused unrest among the people of Kilifi County, which relies on mnazi as a pillar for its economic mainstay. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following. 1, under what circumstances did the ministry classify mnazi as an illicit alcoholic drink, despite the known fact that it is a natural coastal drink tapped direct from the coconut trees? 2, Mr. Speaker, what measures has the government put in place to ensure preservation of culture, including the cultural heritage associated with the mnazi drink and other traditional drinks while implementing the crackdown on illicit brews. Number 3, Mr. Speaker, what initiative has the ministry undertaken to ensure compliance with the law and accurate implementation of the directive on illicit brews without favor nor discrimination? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, that request for statement is, what is out of order, Honorable Arikombe?
Just to add a voice here, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, mnazi is not brewed. It's tapped from the palm tree. And Mr. Speaker, this is the purest drink you can ever find at the coast. Very nice. Long ago, before the introduction of yeast, it used to be used as a fermenting element for mandazi and the rest. Mr. Speaker, if anything, we should find a way of preserving mnazi and supplying it to other parts of Kenya and even outside the country. Indeed, mnazi cannot be done away with. Mr. Speaker, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to add my voice. Mnazi forever. Thank you.
This is not the time to debate. This matter concerning mnazi and by what instrument it has been categorized as an illicit brew and the manner of operations around this crackdown will be responded to by the relevant committee the first week the House comes from recess. The Honorable David Kiplagat.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Where is the chair? The chair is not there.
Chair for?
This House does not proceed at the whims of committee chairs who decide to upset themselves. So I've directed already that the first week from recess, the House will be expecting a response to that statement, and it is so ordered. Honorable David Kiplagat, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Request for statement regarding management of fund managers by the National Government Constituency Development Fund Board. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44.2c, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Select Committee on NGCDF regarding management of fund managers by the National Government Constituency Development Fund Board. Honorable Speaker, the National Government Constituency Development Fund Board is responsible for the management of funds allocated to constituencies for development projects. The NGCDF board is also mandated to oversee the selection and oversight of fund managers to ensure proper utilization of resources and adherence to regulations. However, there are a number of constituencies without substantive fund managers, thereby affecting the operations of the essential funds. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Select Committee on NGCDF regarding the management of fund managers by the NGCDF board on the following. 1. What is the number of constituencies that do not have substantive fund managers, and what are the reasons for that? 2. What measures has the board put in place to ensure proper operations and development in constituencies that do not have substantive fund managers. 3, what criteria does the board apply in the deployment of fund managers to constituencies, including determining the order to be followed when deploying? 4, what plans does the board have to deploy fund managers to the constituencies that do not have substantive fund managers? And lastly, how many fund managers are not currently deployed and why? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Mr. Speaker.
Do you have the chair, the committee under whose charge? That is Honorable Brighton.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I've been serving without a fund manager since October last year, because my fund manager has been...
Honorable Brighton, are you the chair of the committee?
I'm not.
In charge of CDF? You are speaking on his behalf. You are raising something supplementary to what is already raised. You will, in the exercise of my discretion, proceed.
I wrote to the CEO on 31st January, but no response so far. I've been trying to visit the office of CEO so that we can be able to handle this matter, but I've not been able to find CEO in the office. Neither does the CEO answers calls to that effect. My students are stranded. We are not able to disburse NGCDF bursary funds. Up to as of today, we've never been able to disburse, despite the fact that I have more than 100 of students who are on full scholarship mode. I have thousands who benefited in this particular program on university and secondary, and most of them have been chased home. The issue raised by my colleague, DK, is very valid, and we need to answer this so that we can actually be able to handle those rogue fund managers that are being protected somewhere, and despite their misappropriation, they are being recycled all over. Today, when a rogue fund manager is chased from this particular constituency, he is taken to another constituency, and these cycles should be able to stop, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Maundu, you want to debate this statement? Say what you have to say in 1 minute.
To debate the statement because they are never debated. But I have an interest in the matter raised by Honorable DK because, truthfully speaking, fund managers are rogue. And the questions put by Honorable DK to the departmental committee, to the committee in charge of NGCDF, Mr. Speaker, is very important because it will unveil many questions that we have, especially for us who are first timers in this parliament, Mr. Speaker. The issue on fund managers must be looked into because some of these people are robbed, and it does not make anything better by transferring a rogue fund manager from my constituency into somebody's constituency, Mr. Speaker. So I believe the questions raised by DK are very genuine, and indeed we support that the same should actually cut across the entire country. Thank you.
I can't see the member raising his hand next to... Is that the Honorable Julius RUTO? Yeah. In 1 minute only.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I just want to make supplementary in support of the statement made by Honorable David Kiplagat from SOI. That indeed, Mr. Speaker, I can confirm that the kind of fund managers now being transferred from one station to the other comes with a lot of bad records. CDF board are fully aware of their stuff. They know the cases pending. They know the disciplinary matters that have been placed against these particular officers. But the best they do is to transfer to a new constituency with the same problems and the same culture. And it is now clear, Mr. Speaker, it looks like a systematic way from the NGCDF board and the management all the way to their fund managers on the ground. There is an organized system of misusing resources or positions and impunity that even exert on the committees and the staff. And I want to ask that
what is the framework of supervision? Because the question arises now, even when a matter has arisen, who supervises this fund manager? Who is this person that can be put into task to explain the works of this particular fund manager? And where are the reports? Periodical reports, be it be quarterly reports, be it be monthly reports, financial reports, and non-financial reports, especially that looks at the performance of this particular person or performance of the fund in generality. Because you ask for reports, no reports. The only time you get is when the Auditor General comes at the end of the year, and even at that time, period have lapses, and who knows even the kind of what will happen during that period when the Auditor General is around. So even you as an oversight member of parliament, you are in darkness. The other day now we are trying to look at the issues of oversight, only to be told by committees there are no money. And yet in the administration votes, there are money on monitoring and evaluation. No, they cannot monitor the projects. So Mr. Speaker, I say this is a serious matter that needs to be looked at. Thank you.
Where is the chair of the committee in charge of CDF, the Honorable Musa Sirma? Or the vice chair? Where is the vice chair? Is the Honorable the vice chair? No, I don't want to debate this any longer.
Just one more point.
Where is the chair? You already given the mic.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Chair. I must add my voice to this. What Honorable DK has raised, Honorable Chair, is very pertinent. It is an issue that is affecting all the members of Parliament. I particularly are sharing a fund manager with Honorable Chepkonga in Ainapkoi constituency. And every time I want to meet the fund manager, she tells me she's busy at Honorable Chepkonga's place. So I think it is time that fund managers are employed in the spirit of giving jobs to the youth in this country, so that every constituency has a fund manager to be able to carry out our project implementation properly. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Yeah, honorable members, I want to request we leave it at that, because I also know in charge of CDF in the House. It's not there. Now, because of the urgency of the matter, again, the first week the House will resume. We will be expecting a response to that statement to have been delivered to the House. Is that the Honorable Bensimba who was requesting? Or the Honorable Badi Twalib? So making a special request to be allowed to ask for the statement. Yeah, please proceed, Honorable Badi Twalib.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, for giving me this opportunity to request for a statement regarding lack of adequate funding for projects and maintenance of buildings at the Technical University of Mombasa, especially School of Medicine building. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I raise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Education regarding the lack of adequate funding for projects and maintenance of buildings at the Technical University of Mombasa, TUM. Honorable Speaker, the university commenced the School of Medicine project on 7th April 2017, in which a total of 18 classrooms, 6 laboratories, 1 cold room, 1 library, constructed by 1 library, 1 computer laboratory, 1 boardroom, 7 offices, and 1 cafeteria were constructed by January 2021. However, Mr. Speaker, there are obstacles as to adequate funding for furnishing and equipping the facilities, which has delayed the university from enrolling students for the medical-related courses to date. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, the university is located at a heritage site with all buildings that have dilapidated since its construction in 1948 due to the salinity conditions and harsh coastal weather, hence requiring maintenance. Mr. Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Education on the following, Mr. Speaker. 1, outline the measures taken to ensure adequate funding is provided to the university for the furnishing and equipping of the facilities designed for the School of Medicine project, including the maintenance of the old buildings within the Technical University of Mombasa. 2, Mr. Speaker, state the steps taken to ensure that the School of Medicine project is fully completed to allow the enrollment of students for the medical-related courses, considering the socio-economic development effect it will have for the county. Thirdly, Mr. Speaker, provide the timelines to which the funds will be provided to the university as a matter of urgency. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Badi Twalib. You said your matter concerns which departmental committee?
What? Speaker?
Statement,
I beg your pardon.
Statement concerns which departmental committee?
Education, Mr. Speaker.
Education.
And I can see the chair, even the vice chair in the house.
The chair of Education Committee, the Honorable Julius Mili, I've not seen him this afternoon. Where is the vice chair?
Meli is not present.
The Honorable
Vice Chair and NG is not present.
Yeah, but you are saying you have
There
seen
are
them.
all absentee landlords here.
Yeah, Honorable Meli and Honorable Injendi. Injendi was here before. Honorable Jerusha. Who is a member of that committee? Are you in that committee? How long do you need to consider and respond to that request for statement?
Thank you, Honorable Chair, Honorable Speaker. I'm a member of the Education Committee, and we will take it up. Give us 2 weeks as we open, then we get the answers. Thank you.
Honorable Badi Twalib.
Chair, I'm well satisfied for 2 weeks, but you must be very, very, very serious on your promise. Because this matter before this committee have been raised as a matter of urgency, Mr. Speaker. So after 2 weeks, I expect to see feedback on this statement.
I know, Honorable Twalib Badi, they know your name.
They
Back
know
down there, the name.
They know my name.
And why you are given that name.
They know. They know about my name, Honorable Speaker, as you have said, and let me wish to repeat it again so that they can see it and heard it. My name is Honorable Badi Twalib Kijana Mwepesi, Garang Dimabiori Mzee Fulangenge. That is how they call me in there, due to the nature in which I conduct my business. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yeah. I needed you to pronounce that name so that the committee knows they have to deliver on schedule as promised. There is a good reason as to why his constituents call him not just Honorable Twalib Badi, but Dimabior Garang. Dimabior Garang. Thank you very much. The Honorable Geoffrey Ruku.
Honorable Speaker, I stand to request for statement on continued sale of Roundup in the country by Bayer East Africa Limited. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of the Standing Order 42.2c, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the departmental...
Honorable Twalib Badi, You can't do what you're doing. Yeah, you are a senior member, you know what to do. Honorable Ruku, proceed.
Honorable Speaker, I rise to request for a statement on the continued sale of Roundup in the country by buyer East Africa Limited. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 42.2c, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Agriculture and Livestock regarding the continued sale of Roundup herbicide in the country by the buyer East Africa Limited. Honorable Speaker, Roundup is a brand of herbicides used in weed control through spraying. The herbicide was originally produced by Monsanto, which was later acquired by Bayer in 2018. The use of Roundup has been a subject of immense international concern based on multiple credible studies, including the International Agency on Research and Cancer, which has found that glyphosate, the active component on the Roundup, is carcinogenic. So far, victims of cancer associated with exposure to Roundup in Europe and the United States of America has been awarded compensation amounting to billions of US dollars, which buyer has settled. And indeed, the company is still fighting several other cases currently. Honorable Speaker, it is therefore disheartening that despite the global scientific proof of carcinogenic effects of Roundup, the buyer East Africa continues to sell the toxic herbicide in the Kenyan market. This exposes Kenyans to the danger of cancer through, one, drinking glyphosate contaminated water from the rivers and underground waters. Two, contact by farmers during spraying. Three, eating food from contaminated soils. And four, contamination of aquatic resources such as fish or seafoods. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Agriculture and Livestock on the following. One, under what circumstances does buyer East Africa continue to sell Roundup in the country for use in weed control despite the Roundup being scientifically linked to cancer? Two, what standards and findings has buyer East Africa documented and submitted to the relevant government agencies on the effect of Roundup, including profiled cases of harmful exposure, the mitigation measures, and compensation so far extended to the victims of carcinogenic effect of Roundup in Kenya? Three, why has the Pest Control Produce Board not banned the use of Roundup in the country? And when does the government intend to act so as to protect Kenyans from the risk of cancer resulting from the continued exposure to Roundup? I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Chair of the Departmental Committee, Agriculture and Livestock. Oh, the Honorable Mutu.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. And I wish to thank Honorable Geoffrey Roku for this statement. Honorable Speaker, the depth and breadth of this statement requires us to do a thorough study. First of all, to confirm the extent to which this Bayer East Africa has actually studied and understood the use of Roundup, well they know or they don't know whether it is carcinogenic. So, Honorable Speaker, we will need some time as a committee because we will need to do an in-depth inquiry into this matter. So I request that the House grants us 1 month. So in 1 month's time, we will be able to respond adequately to this particular statement. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Chair of the Departmental Committee, Agriculture and Livestock. Mutunga, what is the response period you're proposing?
I'm requesting that you give us 1 month to go into the depth of this particular...
1 month?
1 month, Honourable Speaker.
For continued sale of a product said to be carcinogenic?
Honourable Speaker, the kind of statement required here is a scientific analytical statement. We cannot brush through it. Secondly, it has actually been selling for many, many years. And we need to go into the depth and breadth of the extent to which, if it is the soils that are contaminated, we need to know the extent to which these soils have been contaminated.
Is this one of those,
contaminants, if there are any?
Honorable Mutunga, is this one of those chemicals the Deputy Speaker has been talking about?
It is one of the chemicals that the Deputy Speaker listed. There are about 200 of them. She talked about quite a number of them.
Honorable Ruku.
Honorable Speaker, this is an extremely serious issue. You know the extent to which this country is spending huge amount of money to try and cure or treat cancer patients, and also the amount of money patients that are using to travel out of this country to India and other countries for cancer treatment. I think the chairperson of the Agriculture and Livestock Committee is quite in order when he is requesting for 1 month so that he can be able to do a proper inquiry on this issue. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
So, Honorable Mutunga, your request is granted. Within 1 month, let there be a response not only to Honorable Roku, but to the House. And if there are related chemical products which may also affect the health of the people, please include them in the report.
Speaker, for granting us that time. Thank you.
Good. The Vice Chairperson of the Public Petitions Committee, the Honorable Janet Sitiene, MP, on special request.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to make a statement on status of petitions before the Public Petitions Committee. Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to provisions of Standing Order 44.2D and Standing Order 208A to report to the House the status of petitions before the Public Petitions Committee. The Public Petitions Committee is established pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 208A of the National Assembly and is mandated to, inter alia, consider all public petitions tabled in the House and making such recommendations as may be appropriate with respect to the prayers sought in the petitions. Honorable Speaker, since inception, the committee has received a total of 64 petitions pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 2271, out of which 32 petitions were presented by honorable members and 32 petitions were conveyed by the Speaker on behalf of the members of the public. Out of the 32 petitions for members, 5 reports have been tabled, 6 are awaiting consideration and adoption, 7 are undergoing stakeholder engagement, 4 are at the stage of compilation and findings, and 10 are at the initial stages of briefing and analysis by the Secretariat as summarized below. Honorable Speaker, out of the 32 petitions conveyed by Honorable Speaker on behalf of the members of the public, 8 reports have been tabled, 3 are awaiting consideration and adoption, 2 are undergoing stakeholder engagement, 5 are at the stage of compilation of findings, and 14 are at the initial stages of briefing and analysis by the Secretariat as summarized below. And the 14, Honorable Speaker, will be considered during the recess period where the committee is going to go for a retreat. Honorable Speaker, in the process of considering these petitions, the committee follows a structured approach which includes briefing and analysis meeting with petitioners, engagement with relevant stakeholders, potential site visits and public participation, compilation of findings, report writing, consideration and adoption of the report, and ultimately tabling of the report and notification and delivery of the report to the petitioners pursuant to Standing Order 2273. Honorable Speaker, the committee has encountered various challenges in processing petitions which are required to be addressed within a statutory timeline of 90 days. Key among these challenges include rescheduling of meetings by key stakeholders and witnesses who are pivotal in gathering evidence and finding solutions to the issues raised by the petitioners. This has occasioned delays in processing petitions and hinders adherence to the prescribed statutory timelines. Additionally, members of the committee also attend departmental and other select committee meetings, which often overlap with the committee sittings, hence lack of quorum for most of the meetings. Honorable Speaker, despite these challenges, the committee has implemented innovative administrative measures to expedite the processing of petitions and requesting permission from the Speaker to convene while the House is in session pursuant to Standing Order 186-2. Honorable Speaker, attached herewith is a detailed list of petitions committed to the committee for the House to note, and I would like to express my appreciation to your office and the Office of the Clerk for the support in facilitating Public Petitions Committee, which is an inaugural committee established at the onset of the 13th Parliament. In addition, Honorable Speaker, the committee appreciates your kind consideration, and as recently this week you granted the committee the permission to sit even during hours the House is sitting and on recess. This also included use of room 12 in the new wing for the committee meetings, truly a room which is easily accessible even to persons living with disabilities, which on several occasions we have had hearings to them. Finally, Honorable Speaker, I extend my gratitude to the committee members, Office of the Clerk, and Committee Secretariat for their facilitation and diligent commitment in the consideration of the matters brought before this House. I hereby submit and thank you once again, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, just to finish, I would like to ask for members to note that we have an attachment that they can always look at to follow the progress of their petitions, status of their petitions.
Where is the attachment?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I will table it.
Kindly table it for members to follow. Members, this is possibly one of the most powerful committees enabling us to address issues of concern brought to the House by the people. The Honorable Nelson Koech, the Chair, Defense and Foreign Relations Committee, again on special request.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for that accepting the request. This is in regard to response to for statement by Honorable Janet Sitine, MP Turbo constituency, on the poor relationship between Kenya Ordnance Factory Corporation, KOFC, and the neighboring community. Honorable Speaker, the member for Turbo, Honorable Janet Sitine, MP, sought for a statement pursuant to Standing Order 44.2c on the poor relationship between Kenya Ordnance Factory Corporation and the neighboring community. She specifically raised the following concerns in her statement. Number one, what prompted the officers of Kenya Defense Forces to use live ammunition on residents who were unarmed? Number two, what measures that the Ministry of Defense was taking to ensure amicable coexistence between Kenya Defense Forces and the residents? Number 3, what steps has the KDF in Eldoret instituted?
Order. There is a member engaging the Honorable Janet Sitine when a statement request is being addressed.
Honorable
could you
Janet.
just attend so that...
My mother-in-law, Honorable Janet, please pay attention. This is your response to your statement. Number 4, what disciplinary and legal actions have been taken against the KDF officers involved in the alleged killings and maiming of residents in various incidences? And number 5, when does MOD intend to conclude the process of relinquishing the disputed portion of the land to Kamagut and Buheba settlement schemes quarters and compensate the residents for the loss of their loved ones and livestock over the years? Honorable Speaker, the committee engaged the Ministry of Defense on the above concerns raised by Honorable Janet Sitine. I therefore wish to respond to the issues as follows. Number 1, on what prompted the officers of Kenya Defense Forces to use live ammunition on residents who were unarmed? On November 25th, 2023, around 10 p.m., a group of around 30 unidentified individuals armed with crude weapons trespassed into Block 21 of KFC Farm. Upon detection by the Corporation Security Team, the trespassers turned violent, inflicting serious head injury on one of the KFC guards who was performing a legitimate duty. Consequently, Honorable Speaker, one of the intruders who was in the possession of an axe and identified as the suspect responsible for the said head injury was arrested, handed over to the National Police Service, and thereafter presented before a court of law, and additionally several bags of illegal harvested maize were recovered at the incident's scene. Honorable Speaker, live ammunition was not used during the confrontation between the trespassers and Kenya Ordnance Factories Corporation security personnel. This incident is currently under independent investigations by the Director of Criminal Investigation and the Military Police, whilst Defense Headquarters has also constituted a board of inquiry into the same. Above all, the death of the citizens is unfortunate, and MOD is committed to finding a shared long-term solution to the current dispute. On number 2, Honorable Speaker, on what measures the Ministry of Defense was taking to ensure amicable coexistence between Kenya Defense Force and residents. Honorable Speaker, as stated earlier, the Ministry of Defense through KFC values the cooperation of the Turbo community towards mandate accomplishment and has taken various measures to enhance the well-being of the adjacent population. Some of the social, security, and economic interventions are, number 1, promoting respect for the rule of law, particularly through encouraging dialogue and alternative dispute resolutions for land-related matters. Number 2, in partnership with the county and the national administration officials, Ministry of Defense continually sensitize members of the public on the safety and security hazards applicable to protected areas such as KFC and the Defense Forces Recruit Training School. Number 3, engaging in corporate social responsibility activities such as tree planting exercises to support of the community. For example, a tree planting exercise that was jointly undertaken on 13th of November 2023. And number 4, provision of employment opportunities to locals, either as permanent staff or as casual workers in the farm and the factory. Number 5 is partnership with local administration, law enforcement agencies, community leaders, and members of parliament, and member of parliament for Turbo constituency to address emerging challenges. Number 3, on what steps has the KDF in Eldoret instituted to address loss of lives, especially miners who have died in trenches around the barracks since 2021? Honorable Speaker, the trenches referenced are actually security barriers constructed within the protected area in accordance with the Protected Areas Act, Cap 204 laws of Kenya. These barriers were designed to counter the threat of international terrorism, especially those that are perpetrated using vehicles-borne improvised explosive devices. It is recalled that Kenya has been among the targeted countries with members of the public as well as security personnel and strategic installations such as KFC constituting lucrative targets. Honorable Speaker, the security barrier also serves as a deterrent against encroachment and trespass into public land. Above all, it was and is still necessary to protect the public against hazardous materials held by KFC, as well as provide safety against military training activities linked to Defense Forces Recruits Training School. Number 4, on what disciplinary and legal actions have been taken against the KDF officers involved in the alleged killings and maiming of residents in various incidences? Honorable Speaker, according to the procedures under both civil and military law, that is the Penal Code Cap 63 of the laws of Kenya and KDF Act 2012, when an incident is reported, the National Police Service is invited to conduct independent investigations. If any member of KDF is implicated, criminal or civil action is taken against them through a competent court of law. Further, the military police conduct parallel investigations and may recommend appropriate action in line with military discipline procedures applicable to anyone who is implicated. So far, no investigation has found any KDF officer liable. Number 5, on what MOD intends to conclude the process of relinquishing the disputed portion of land, which is Kamagut and Buheba settlement schemes, quarters, and compensate the residents for the loss of their loved ones and livestock over the years. Honorable Speaker, the ministry advised that Eldoret military land was compulsorily acquired for the national security purposes, and an allotment letter to this effect was issued for 6,379 hectares. Thereafter, out of the 6,379 hectares, 2 parcels were surveyed, this being the current location of KDF Recruiting Training School, and 9 Kenya Rifles Battalion and KOC. Titles were issued for the parcels while the rest of the land was still under survey. The allotment letter to the Ministry of Defense has never been revoked. Honorable Speaker, despite the aforementioned, it is regrettable that the trespass remains a major challenge as evidenced by the latest fatal incident. So far, the only demand notice against MOD was by Oliver Kiptoa Samoe on behalf of his 6-year-old son, the late Maxwell Kipchumba Samoe, who passed away on 20th July 2023, a matter referred to the insurance firm contracted by KOFC. In this context, and to prevent recurrence, MOD and KDF through KOFC, in liaison with national government administration officers, have enhanced community sensitization about the risks associated with trespass into security installation and facilities. Honorable Speaker, whereas MOD is rightfully owner and lawfully in occupation of the land, the ownership is currently contested and is present subject to active litigation by various parties as follows. A, Eldoret Land and Environment Constitutional Petition number 7 of 2020, that is Lesiru Tebeson Farmer Society as a National Land Commission, Chief Registrar, Lands, MOD, and AG. The petitioner claims to have been allocated 2 parcels of land for which they allegedly paid for. For the first allotment, about 8 or 7 hectares, they allege they have paid Kenya shilling 13,585,000 and Kenya shillings 11,826,210 for the second parcel of land as standard premium. They further claimed that MOD surrendered 1,579 hectares to settle landless person. That is the same land they were allocated. They want the court to declare the land reference to 7206/3 and 27206/4, which are designated as KOC safety zones, belong to them. And B, Environment and Land Court, case number 78 of 2019, Kiplombe Farm, and 9 other farms versus KDF, AG, and National Land Commission, and 3 others. The plaintiff lay claim to 9 parcels of land now referred to as Kamagut and Buheba settlement schemes, which are currently inhabited by the 19,000 residents. They allege a lack of commensurate compensation by the state, nor were they allocated alternative land. They also mention an alleged declaration by the late former President Daniel Arap Moi regarding the return of the farms to the owners. Furthermore, some of the land being claimed by the plaintiff is also claimed by Lesiru Tebeson Farmers Limited. C, Eldoret Land and Environment Constitutional Petition number 11 of 2019, Daniel Arap Kenduyo and 135 others versus MOD, National Land Commission, and AG. The petitioners filed the petition alleging that they are original owners of LR number 8406/6 having purchased it for value. They further claim that their ownership is subject to defeat by a flawed compulsory acquisition process in which they were not compensated. Additionally, they argue that the compulsory acquisition was only partial and did not cover the whole parcel of land. They also allege, Honorable Speaker, that the late former President Daniel Toroitich arap Moi made a declaration that they be issued with the title over the land. Their prayer to the court is for them to be declared as owner of the land. Honorable Speaker, despite MOD being in lawful occupation of the land in question and ongoing litigation, the ministry continues to engage the community and other stakeholders to negotiate an amicable settlement that shall be recorded in court upon mutual consensus being reached. I submit and I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Janet Sitine.
Honorable Speaker, I'm very disappointed with the response. I don't even know how to explain it, but in a short, I think most of the questions were evaded. I want to cite two in case. One, about the children that fell into the trench and died. They've only mentioned one child, and they have not even made a real commitment on compensation of that child, or even felt sorry about it. Two, they have only dwelled on one issue of the conflict at the farm, the harvesting farm, and ignored the 25th of December on Christmas Day when 3 people were maimed and 3 people were shot dead, and the corpses were lying there. It was even in the papers. On the 25th of December, 2021, they have not made any mention to it. They have only denied use of live ammunition on them. But on this particular day, there were live ammunition used on it during a baraza between the community and the KDF. So, Honorable Speaker, they have not even mentioned something about what we requested, what plans do they have to evade any more accidents into the trenches. I expected a reply on how they are going to protect or fence off the trenches so that the community or the children who are innocent do not fall into those trenches again, accidentally. Because what happened was accidental. It was not trespass. This was a 5-year-old child who just was walking around, and because there were trenches, he just fell into the pit because innocently without knowing. So I think really I am not satisfied with the response, but however, we will take another avenue. Thank you.
Honorable Nelson Koch. Or before you respond, Honorable Kangogo, you wanted to say something to this? Yes, Honorable Nelson Koch.
It's I feel Honorable Janet, and Honorable Janet, if you have further questions before the Ministry of Defense, I will kindly ask that if you, using the same channel, request for additional information. Honorable Janet, my committee will take your questions extremely seriously. And
yes, Honorable Tom Joseph Francis Kajwang, what is out of order?
Mr. Speaker, as I listen to Honorable Janet's response to the minister's remarks, she says something profound, that the minister's response is not accurate in substance. Now that should worry us. In fact, in unparliamentary language, it would mean that the minister is lying to the House. Because she says that on a particular date, 25th of December, on a Christmas, 3 people died because of bullet wounds. And people don't lie. People who die of bullet wounds don't. It is something which a human being can see, that these are 3 people who are dead because of a bullet wound. Then 2 others were maimed. And yet in the response by the minister, he gives a statement which I found very worrisome. He says that no live ammunition was used. Now, those 2 responses, those 2 statements are irreconcilable. One says 3 Kenyans died. Another, flatly, a minister says that there was no live bullets used. On a point of order, when a minister makes a statement which is untruthful on a matter of fact, shouldn't the House reprimand this minister if it turns out that this is untrue? And should the minister be ordered to give a further statement on the accuracy only, if only, on the use of firearm? And I take the member very seriously, because members don't lie in this House. When a member says 3 people are dead because of bullet wound, it is true. I want to take them as, because we take an oath here every day, to defend this constitution and also to be truthful to this House. So I want to think that Janet is saying the truth on this matter. And so when the minister says that there was no bullet, there was no firearm used, Mr. Speaker, shouldn't we ask the minister to make further statements on that issue so that we get the truth of this matter? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Anthony Alwach.
Speaker, what I want to raise is a question as to whether we actually have quorum in the House to proceed. I would ask you to determine whether there is quorum for this House to continue before you actually proceed any further. Thank you.
The parliamentary administration that should help with the confirmation should look around and confirm whether we have quorum. And as they approach me with that confirmation, could the Honorable Kangogo make a comment on this?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I've heard the Honorable Chair, Nelson Koech, the response is given us, and is completely different from what we saw and even what was reported in the media, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the answer by the chair is just a cosmetic answer. And though I cannot accuse my colleague, Mr. Speaker, I would suggest that you rule that the Cabinet Secretary for Defense, the Honorable Duale, to appear before this House and answer this question substantively. Number 2, Honorable Speaker, our KDF officers, Mr. Speaker, they are very inhuman. I want to say this, Mr. Speaker. These are people who they are sons of mothers, they are brothers of, and also sisters. They are people, they are human beings like us, but if you see how they treat Kenyans, Mr. Speaker, it's just terrible. Mr. Speaker, today, in my constituency, in the name of looking for cattle rustlers, Mr. Speaker, they have destroyed almost like 10 motorbikes. They have destroyed about 7 kiosks. They went into a place where there was a burial, Mr. Speaker, and they mixed the food with sand. You can imagine that kind of, those kind of people. Mr. Speaker, our KDF, I think it is wrong, completely wrong, the behavior they are showing. In fact, Mr. Speaker, the KTF, they were taken to Kerio Valley to help us build peace. But now what they are causing, they are now becoming the source of insecurity in Kerio Valley. And even we are seeking that they should be even removed from Kerio Valley. We better live with our bandits there because we were even better when KDF, they were not there.
The Honorable Nelson Koech, it does appear from the House, as the issue of quorum is being confirmed, it does appear that the response coming from the ministry is unsatisfactory.
Yeah, statements that
How
are
do
being...
you want to approach the issue? Because as Speaker, I don't agree with the position that upon an issue being raised, a member raising it on behalf of Kenyans has to follow through the other procedures again to raise it again. It's an urgent issue.
Honorable Speaker.
How do you want to approach the issue so that the House can have satisfactory response?
Honorable Speaker, why I was, there is a section, if honorable members were very keen, that I mentioned that the Director of Criminal Investigation, the Military Police, and the Defense Headquarters have constituted a board to inquire on the same. But nonetheless, I feel profoundly what members are raising about the concerns that probably some questions were avoided in this particular response. And that is why I'm saying we as a committee take concerns and statements, a request for statements by honorable members very seriously. And if I'm allowed, Honorable Speaker, we will invite the minister one more time. We will ask all the pertinent questions that Honorable Janet CTNA is asking. And you can be very sure that I'll come to this committee with a proper response from the minister.
Yes, I direct you, Honorable Nelson Koech, through your committee, to pick up those lapses and the issues being raised by Honorable CTNA, the issue which has been raised by Honorable Kajwang, additional to the fact that even a child said to be aged 5 years fell into one of these, trenches, what do they call them, and died, and go back to the ministry and get back to the House responses to those, specific gaps so that the matter can be resolved at once and conclusively. And I'm directing that you do this within the second week after the House resumes from recess.
Well guided, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Janet Sitine, would that be satisfactory?
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
And I'm saying this so that if there would be need for you to elevate it to a level where the Cabinet Secretary responds to it before all representatives in the House, you can also follow through those procedures if by the time of their response not all gaps are sealed.
Honorable Speaker, I want to accept the response from the chair because I know he's going to look at it very seriously now because I was very, very disappointed. I didn't even know how to speak because on the 25th Christmas Day, I was seated at the church when the sermon was just about to start, and I saw so many missed calls, and I wondered what was happening. So I walked out. When I went out, there were screams and wailing. One of my officers, constituency manager, called me and said, people are dying in Kiblombe. I just picked my bag. I did not even say where I was going, and I went.
These are very brief.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for your wisdom. Honorable Speaker, I wish to request for a statement regarding the various aspects of the financial services being offered by telecommunication companies in Kenya. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44, Part 2, subsection C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning regarding various aspects of financial services being offered by Airtel, Telcom, Amal, and personal platforms. However, these companies, through various digital applications, such as M-Pesa, offering loans using money believed to belong to non-borrowing digital application users. Further, Honorable Speaker, telecommunication companies addressed the SIM swap fraud, which has seen customers losing millions of shillings through scams and fraud targeting their mobile money services. Their customers have been victims of scammers who have been accessing their bank accounts using the victims' identity. Could the committee undertake an inquiry into how telecommunication companies, through digital applications such as M-Pesa, digital loan products, Fuliza users, Thus, number 2, what regulatory framework has all telecommunication companies are secured from cyber criminals? And number 4, what strategic response and protection measures have telecommunication companies adopted to address?
Thank you very much, Speaker. We've seen thousands, if not millions, of Kenyans lose their money from their bank accounts, and it has not been addressed. To oversight the financial sector, they are forced to conduct an inquiry so that we ask all Kenyans that have lost their money in either a bank account, in a SACCO account, in a microfinance account, and any Kenyan who has lost money through a mobile app to write to us so that we can address that matter. And if, for any case, it is because of non-existence of a legal framework, then this being a lawmaking house, we propose the correct law so that we protect the hard-earned earnings and savings of very hard-working Kenyans. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
By when did you say, Chair, you want to respond to the statement?
Give us 30 days, Honorable Speaker.
Will that work for you?
Honorable Speaker, I do agree with the Chair of the Departmental Finance and Planning that 30 days would be sufficient because this should not take the angle of a statement, but rather an inquiry. And as he has clearly put it, we obviously need to also hear from the public in terms of some of their experiences for us to be able to make a clear determination. So I do concur with the Chair.
Statement to be delivered within 30 days as requested. The Honorable Njeri Maina.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to request for a statement regarding defilement of a minor in Kenyatta County. For purposes of protecting her, kindly allow me not to mention her name. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44.2c, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding defilement of a minor at Kiburu Village, Baricho location in Kenyatta County. Honorable Speaker, Kenya has enacted several laws and developed various policies to fight sexual offenses. Despite the existence of many laws and policies prohibiting sexual offenses in Kenya, there is still a sharp increase in sexual violence cases and the emergence of new forms of sexual violence which had not been addressed by the Sexual Offences Act. On 20th February 2024, a case OB number 1720/02/2024 was reported at Baricho Police Station on defilement of a minor, 13 years, by one Mr. Alfred Chomba, who is the chief of Mokore location. According to the report, the chief has been luring the minor, who is a grade 7 pupil in Kiburu Primary School, to different lodgings by giving her some money and defiling her after school. Honorable Speaker, when the chief learned that the minor was pregnant, he approached her elder sister, persuaded her to keep the matter confidential and support procurement of an abortion, after which he would compensate her. However, the sister decided to report the matter to my office and at Baricho Police Station. Upon hearing the matter had been reported, the chief revenged by assaulting the sister who reported the matter on 21st February 2024.
Order, honorable members, would you consult on low tones? This matter being raised sounds very serious.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Upon hearing that the matter had been reported, the chief revenged by assaulting the minor's sister on 21st February 2024. The assault case was also reported at Baricho Police Station under OB number 19/21/02/2024. And thereafter, the chief was arrested but released on a cash bail of Kenya shillings 30,000. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following. What measures has the ministry put in place to ensure the minor and her sister get justice? Could the chairperson explain reasons that led to the release of the chief from Baricho police station on a cash bill, regardless of the victim's right to justice? What measures has the government put in place to ensure the safety of school-going children in Kirinyaga County and the country at large? I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Chair Administration National Security Committee is not in the House. But because of the urgency of this matter, I want to request that the response to it be delivered to you, Honorable Njeri Maina, and to the House within 30 days from today. Would that be sufficient?
Yes, that is in order.
And I'm
Honorable
mentioning
Speaker.
within 30 days, so that if that response is available even by tomorrow, within 30 days does not mean we have to wait for 30 days, provided it is not beyond 30 days.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. I wanted to call upon the leader of majority, to give that statement.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2A, I rise to give the following statement on behalf of the House Business Committee, which met on Tuesday, 19th March 2024, to prioritize the business for consideration during the week. From the onset, Honorable Speaker, I wish to commend the leadership of the House and the members for dedication and cooperation exhibited in the session so far. As members will note, the House is set to proceed on a short recess commencing after today's sitting in line with the approved calendar of regular sittings. Thereafter, the House is scheduled to resume sitting on Tuesday 9th, April 2024, and at 2:30 p.m. to continue with the first part of the second session. Honorable Speaker, we wish members a happy stay with their families and reunite with their families because they have worked very hard. Although we have only very few days, it is good enough and we will be energized. Honorable Speaker, it is noted that the House still awaits various reports from committees on business committed to them. In this regard, I wish to encourage committees to make use of this period to expedite pending business and finalize their reports, including on bills, treaties, petitions, and any inquiry. This will enable their consideration when the House resumes from the short recess. Honorable Speaker, upon resumption, the House will continue debate on the second reading of the Land Laws Amendment Number 2, Bill 2023, the National Disaster Risk Management Bill 2023, and the County Licensing Uniform Procedure Bill, Senate Bill Number 9 of 2022, should they not be concluded today. Additionally, debates will also be undertaken on the following motions should they not be concluded. Number 1, reports of the Auditor General on the National Government Constituency Development Fund for 5 constituencies in Vihiga County. Number 2, reports of the Auditor General on the financial statement for the Kenya Slum Upgrading Low-Cost Housing and Infrastructure Trust Fund. Number 3, report of the Auditor General on the financial statement for the Land Settlement Fund and the Railway Development Fund. Number 4, reports of the Auditor General on the National Government Constituencies Development Fund for 9 constituencies in Bungoma. And number 5, inquiry into the maize flour subsidy program for the financial year 2022-2023. Finally, Honorable Speaker, noting that the Ramadan and Easter periods fall during this recess period, I wish to take this early opportunity on behalf of the House Business Committee and indeed on my own behalf to wish members a happy Easter, Ramadan Mubarak, and a fruitful recess period. The House Business Committee shall reconvene on Tuesday, 9th April, to schedule business for the rest of that week. I now wish to lay this statement on the table of the House, and thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. Next order.
Order number 13, the National Disaster Risk Management Bill, National Assembly Bill number 24 of 2023, second reading.
Mover is Honorable Jacopin.
Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the Leader of the Majority, I beg to move that the National Disaster Risk Management Bill 2023, National Assembly Bill number 24, be read for the second time. I also wish to thank the Committee on Regional Development for a job well done. Now, Honorable Speaker, as you are aware, now the bill seeks to provide a legal framework for the coordination of disaster risk management activities at both levels of government by establishing an intergovernmental council on disaster risk management and the National Disaster Management Authority to ensure coordination of disaster risk management issues. Now, Honorable Speaker, further, the bill approaches disaster risk management in a manner that seeks first to respond effectively and timely, in a timely manner, to any disaster and prevent the adverse effects of a disaster. Now, Honorable Speaker, as you may be aware, now the following articles of the Constitution explicitly recognize the importance of disaster risk management, mandating the government to ensure the sustainable management and conservation of the environment, including disaster risk reduction, namely Article 58(1)(a) on state of emergency, provides that a natural disaster may lead to the declaration of a state of emergency. Article 69 on the obligations of the state in respect of environment provides that state shall eliminate processes and activities that are likely to endanger the environment, including disaster. Now, Honorable Speaker, Article 241(3)(b) provides that Kenya Defense Forces shall assist and cooperate with other authorities in situations of emergency or disaster and report to the National Assembly whenever deployed in such circumstances. Honorable Speaker, the fourth schedule to the Constitution provides that disaster management is a shared function between the national and county governments. I now seek to highlight the contents of the bill, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, the bill has 57 clauses, and Part 1, which is preliminary, Honorable Speaker, has clause 1 to 4. This part provides for the preliminary provisions and outlines the application of the bill with the principal object seeking to provide a legal framework for the coordination of disaster risk management activities. Now, clause 3, Honorable Speaker, sets out the objects of the bill, which are to, 1, to provide a legislative framework for disaster risk management. B, to enhance effective and coordinated disaster preparedness, prevention, response, mitigation, and recovery. 3, Honorable Speaker, to reduce disaster risks and vulnerabilities at the national and county levels of government, and 4, to enhance resilience to the impacts of disaster risks and climate change at both the national and county levels of government. Now, Honorable Speaker, now clause 4 of this bill provides the guiding principles to disaster risk management, which include 1, or A, a comprehensive approach to disaster risk management for balancing between the reduction of risk and
the enhancement of community resilience, while ensuring effective response and recovery capabilities. Number 2, Honorable Speaker, all hazards approach in managing disaster. 3, enhancing local disaster risk management capability as the front line to disaster risk management. 4, respect ethics and professional standards. Now 5, transparency and accountability. Now 6, commitment in service to the people. And finally, Honorable Speaker, supporting the national and county governments, including local communities in disaster risk management. Now, part 2, Honorable Speaker, is on the establishment of institutional framework on disaster risk management. That is clause 5 to clause 29. Now, Honorable Speaker, the committee proposes that the bill be amended by deleting clause 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now, the justification, Honorable Speaker, for this is that these clauses provide for the establishment of the Intergovernmental Council that comprises 10 members. Now, the committee recommends its deletion for the following reasons. Now, Honorable Speaker, reason number 1 is the proposed Intergovernmental Council will be bureaucratic, and the reporting structure is unclear as to how the more than a third of the cabinet, as currently constituted, will be reporting to the same cabinet. Number 2, Honorable Speaker, that the arrangement may occasion delays in the critical decision-making process for effective disaster risk management. More specifically, during response and thereafter, now the authority is best placed to discharge the functions. Number 3, Honorable Speaker, that the proposed establishment of the Intergovernmental Council would distort the principles of good governance. 4, the functions of the proposed Intergovernmental Council, Honorable Speaker, may conflict with the functions of the proposed National Disaster Risk Management Authority and the board of the authority. Both the Intergovernmental Council and the National Disaster Risk Management Authority, established under Clause 9, are to perform the function of coordinating, monitoring, and implementing the function of disaster risk management. And finally, Honorable Speaker, it offends the principle of cooperation between the national and the county governments. Out of the 10 members of the Intergovernmental Council proposed, Honorable Speaker, 9 are members of the cabinet, and only 1 is from the Council of County Governors. Now, Honorable Speaker, Clause 9 to 30 establishes the National Disaster Risk Management Authority, whose headquarters shall be in Nairobi. However, the authority may establish such other offices as it considers necessary for the discharge of its functions. Now, Honorable Speaker, the clause further provides for the functions of the authority and outlines the composition and qualifications of members and the functions of the board of the authority. Now, Honorable Speaker, it is worth noting that Clause 13 provides for the composition of the board. Now, the committee proposes an amendment to ensure adherence to the Mwongozo Code of Governance, which recommends a membership of between 7 and 9 members. Now, Honorable Speaker, Part 3 of this bill is on the classification of disaster plans and electronic information systems. That is Clause 31 to 34. Now, Honorable Speaker, Clause 31 places a duty on the authority to develop and maintain an electronic database containing 1, particulars of national and county organs involved in disaster risk management, non-governmental organizations involved in disaster risk management, including foreign ones and experts. Number 2, the information concerning disasters. This is what will be, Honorable Speaker, contained in this database. Now 3, directory of role players. 4, emergency response resources and capacity. 5, emergency preparedness. Now 6, classification of disasters, and 7, disaster risk management research and training facilities. Now, Honorable Speaker, clause 32 of this bill states that the authority shall develop and regularly review the National Disaster Risk Management Plan and strategy for state organs and other players involved in disaster risk management, and collaborate with the counties in coordinating the implementation of the policies, plans, and strategies. Now, Honorable Speaker, clause 33 of this bill provides for the classification of disasters and provides that the authority shall, when a disaster occurs or threatens to occur, determine whether the event is a disaster under the Act, and once it is declared to be a disaster, the authority shall, Honorable Speaker, assess the magnitude and severity or potential magnitude or severity. B, Honorable Speaker, classify the disaster as a county disaster or a national disaster, and C, record the particulars concerning the disaster in a register. A county disaster is one that affects a single county and the county is unable to effectively manage it, whereas a national disaster, Honorable Speaker, is one that affects more than one county or a single county that is unable to effectively manage it. So, Honorable Speaker, here we are saying that a disaster can befall a county, but where a county may not be able to manage it, therefore it now becomes a national disaster. So, and again, where a disaster affects more than one county, it can also be classified as a national disaster. Now, Honorable Speaker, clause 34 gives the President authority to declare a national state of disaster. The declaration shall contain the reasons and duration. During the subsistence of a declaration, the President may make orders or issue directives concerning the release of available resources, it is stores, equipment, facilities, and vehicles, and the release of personnel for rendering of emergency services, among others. Now, Honorable Speaker, Part 4 of this Disaster Risk Management Bill is on county disaster risk preparedness, risk management committees, and this is clauses 35 to 44. Now, Honorable Speaker, clause 35 to 39 establishes a county disaster risk management committee in each county, and its composition, functions, powers, and conduct of business and affairs. In addition, clause 40 requires each county to establish a county disaster risk management center, which shall be headed by an expert in disaster risk management who shall be competitively recruited by the County Public Service Board. Now, Honorable Speaker, the functions of the center include, that is the County Disaster Risk Management Center, Honorable Speaker, the functions of the center include implementing the decisions of the committee, specializing in matters concerning disaster risk management in the county, and promoting an integrated concerning disaster risk management in the county, and promoting an integrated and coordinated approach to disaster risk management in the county, among other functions. Now, Honorable Speaker, clause 41 to 44 provides for the procedure during disaster events. When a disaster occurs or is forecasted to occur, a county committee shall determine whether the event is a disaster under the Act, and if so, it shall assess the magnitude and severity or potential magnitude and severity of the disaster, implement applicable contingency plans and emergency procedures, and inform the authority of the disaster. Now, Honorable Speaker, Part 5 of this bill is on financial provisions, that is clauses 45 to 48. The Honorable Speaker, clause 45 to 48 outlines the source of the funds for the authority which consists of monies appropriated by the National Assembly, monies as may accrue to the authority in the performance of its functions, and monies from any other source provided for or donated or lent to the authority. Now, Honorable Speaker, Part 6 of this bill is on miscellaneous provisions, that is clauses 49 to 55. Now, Honorable Speaker, clause 49 to 50 places a duty on Honorable Speaker, clause 49 to 50 places a duty on the members of the board, staff, or agents of the authority to safeguard the information held by the authority. Now, clause 51 to 55 provides for the offenses to include obstruction and refusal to comply with directions, false claim, false alarm, or warning, and misappropriation of relief money or materials meant for providing relief during a disaster. Now, Honorable Speaker, Part 7 of this bill is on provisions on delegated power. Now, Honorable Speaker, clause 56 gives the Cabinet Secretary the power to make regulations. Now, the regulations, Honorable Speaker, may provide for things such as measures for disaster prevention, mitigation, preparedness, response and recovery, collection and publication of data relating to disaster risk management, conduct of public awareness and civic education on disaster risk management, criteria for the classification of a disaster, and form and particulars of the register for disasters, among other things. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, disaster risk management is a complex and dynamic process that requires sustained commitment, collaboration, and innovation. In Kenya, efforts to enhance disaster risk management face numerous challenges, including climate change, resource constraints, and governance issues. However, through policy reforms, investments in early warning systems, community engagements, and capacity building, Kenya has made significant strides in strengthening its resilience to disasters. Honorable Speaker, moving forward, sustained efforts to address underlying risks, factors, improve coordination, and build adaptive capacity will be essential to mitigate disaster risks effectively and build a safer and more resilient Kenya for the future generations. Now, Honorable Speaker, I therefore beg to move and ask the Honorable Tungule, the member for KWANZA, to second.
Just before it is seconded, it appears you have a lot of information on this particular bill. There was a previous bill like this, which unfortunately lapsed. To what extent does this borrow from it? That is just number one. You may respond, or it may be an issue you look at as you proceed to committee. That is the relevant committee. And this is National Disaster Risk Management Bill, but within it we are dealing with county disaster. Are there some issues you could comment on? If not, we may proceed to seconding.
Honorable Speaker, from what I presented is that disaster risk management will be a collaborative, will require collaborative effort. That is why we are saying that we are talking about the National Disaster Risk Management, but within it now, when disasters occur, the counties will also come in. That's why we are saying within this bill, we are also establishing a center at the county and involve also counties in managing disasters. That is why we are bringing counties on board, because even the classification of disasters, Honorable Speaker, you have heard that we have what we classify as a national disaster, we have also a county disaster. Now, where a disaster occurs in a county, and a county is not able to cope, we can scale it and call it a national disaster. Where a disaster affects more than one county, that automatically now becomes a national disaster. And in response efforts, in trying to deal with disasters, the two levels of government, the national government and county governments, will have to collaborate in managing disasters. Now, to your earlier question, Honorable Speaker, this bill was introduced first in the last parliament. So we've just picked it up to ensure that we take it to conclusion. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. So I now want to ask Honorable Tungule to second.
Who was seconding?
Yeah. Honorable Tungule, the member for Ganze.
Give him the mic. Proceed, Honorable Tungule.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. And I rise to second the National Disaster Risk Management Bill. This is Bill number 24 of 2023, to be read a second time. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 127, one of the National Disaster Risk Management Bill, that was sponsored by the Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, the leader of majority, and moved here by the chair, Hon Lochakapong. Hon Lochakapong is the chairman of the Regional Development Committee, and was read the first time on Wednesday, August 9th, 2023, and committed to the Committee on Regional Development for consideration and reporting to the House pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 127. Honorable Speaker, as the mover pointed out on the fourth schedule to the Constitution, Article 58, 1A, and Article 69, and Article 241, 3B, among others, they do explicitly recognize the significance of disaster risk management and require the government to ensure a sustainable management and conservation of the environment, including disaster risk reduction. Honorable Speaker, Kenya faces a wide range of natural and human-induced hazards, such as the vulnerability to climate change, where Kenya is highly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change, including erratic rainfall patterns, increased frequency and intensity of droughts and floods, and rising temperatures. These phenomena exacerbate food insecurity, water scarcity, and the spread of vector-borne diseases, and amplifying disaster risk across the country. Again, Mr. Speaker, limited resources and capacity, where Kenya faces resource constraints and capacity gaps in disaster preparedness, response, and recovery. Insufficient funding, inadequate infrastructure, and a shortage of skilled personnel hinder the government's ability to address disaster risks comprehensively. Urbanization and informal settlements is also another area where we need intervention, where rapid urbanization and the proliferation of informal settlements in cities like Nairobi exacerbates vulnerability to disasters. Poorly planned urban areas lack adequate infrastructure, services, and land use regulations, increasing populations' exposure to hazards such as floods, fires, and landslides. Governance and coordination. Despite efforts to strengthen institutional framework for disaster risk management, challenges persist in governance and the coordination among relevant stakeholders. Fragmentation, overlapping mandates, and weak coordination mechanisms hinder effective collaboration and information sharing, undermining the efficiency and efficacy of disaster risk management efforts. Honorable Speaker, these hazards in turn lead to disasters that cause death, injury, damage, and damage to property, and the environment, as well as a significant disruption of life of community. Kenya's development gains have been under threat from increasing number of disasters. Honorable Speaker, historically, disaster management in Kenya was not viewed as an integral part of development planning. Disasters have been responded in an ad hoc manner when they occurred. And it was only after the El Nino in 1997 and in 1998 bombing of the US Embassy that the National Disaster Risk Operations Center was developed to coordinate, mobilize resources, and respond to emergencies and disasters. In 2013, the National Disaster Risk Management Unit was established through a presidential directive as an effective and competent disaster management unit with an established command structure, budget, and standard operating procedures based on best practices. Honorable Speaker, the bill is therefore a step towards the right direction for the country on matters relating to disaster risk management. The bill will provide a legal and an institutional framework for the coordination of disaster risk management activities in both the national and county governments. Mr. Speaker, the bill encompasses a range of activities aimed at minimizing the impact of disaster on communities and their livelihoods. It involves identification, assessment, and reduction of risks, as well as preparedness, response and recovery measures. DRM bill adopts a multidisciplinary approach incorporating elements of science, engineering, governance, and social dynamics to address complex risk scenarios comprehensively. Honorable Speaker, Clause 3 and 4 of the National Disaster Risk Management Bill incorporates several key principles and objects underpinning effective disaster risk management. These are A, risk identification and assessment, and this involves conducting a risk assessment, mapping potential threats, and evaluating the exposure and vulnerability of communities, infrastructure, and ecosystems. B, with prevention and mitigation, and this includes land use planning, building codes, infrastructure improvements, ecosystem restoration, and public awareness campaigns to promote safer practices. And C, we have preparedness, which involves developing plans, protocols, and capacities to respond swiftly and effectively when disasters strike. This includes establishing early warning systems, training emergency responders, stockpiling supplies, and conducting drills and simulations to test response mechanisms. And D, we have response, where efforts focus on providing immediate assistance to affected populations, including search and rescue operations, medical care, shelter, and human aid. Coordination among government agencies, NGOs, international organizations is crucial for effective and equitable response efforts. And then E, we have recovery and rehabilitation, where recovery efforts aim to restore affected communities to a state of normalcy and resilience. This may involve rebuilding infrastructure, restoring livelihoods, providing psychological support, and integrating lessons learned to enhance future resilience. Mr. Speaker, Standing Order number 127 provides that the departmental committee to which a bill is committed shall facilitate public participation on the bill through an appropriate mechanism, including inviting submission of memoranda, holding public hearings, consulting relevant stakeholders. Let me finish. I'm just finishing. I'm concluding right now. I'm concluding. Mr. Speaker, As I conclude, Mr. Speaker, the importance of the Disaster Risk Management Bill cannot be overstated, particularly in an era of increasing climate change impacts, urbanization, and globalization. Effective disaster risk management not only saves lives and reduces suffering, but also protects livelihoods. By investing in proactive risk reduction measures, communities can minimize the costs and the disruptions associated with disasters and build a more resilient and sustainable future for all. Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I beg to second the bill to be read a second time. Thank you.
Yeah, honorable members, I now propose the question that the National Disaster Risk Management Bill, National Assembly Bill number 24 of 2023, be now read a second time. Honorable members, before we continue with the debate, allow me to communicate this message on behalf of the Speaker. It's a message from His Excellency the President, message number 001 of 2024, on the subject matter of nomination of persons for appointment to various diplomatic offices. Honorable members, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 42, I wish to report to the House that I have received a message from His Excellency the President regarding the nomination of persons for appointment to various diplomatic offices. In the message, His Excellency the President conveys that in the exercise of the powers conferred to him by the provisions of Article 132, Sub-Article 2E of the Constitution, he has nominated 27 persons for appointment to the offices of the High Commissioners, Ambassadors, Permanent Representatives, and Consuls General. The 27 persons are as here under. A. High Commissioners. 1. Ms. Catherine Kirumba Karemu, Station, London, United Kingdom. 2. Honorable Joash Arthur Maangi, to the Station of Kampala, Uganda. 3. The Honorable Lillian Tommy Tom, to the Station, Lusaka, Zambia. 4. The Honorable Vincent Mogaka Kemosi, Ottawa, Canada. No, sorry. Let me repeat, honorable members. The Honorable Vincent Mogaka Kemosi, Accra, Ghana. Number 5 is Ms. Caroline Kamende Daudi, Ottawa, Canada. Number 6, Lieutenant General Peter Mbogo Njiru, Islamabad, Pakistan. B. Ambassadors. 1. The Honorable Fred Outa, Cairo, Egypt. Number 2, Professor Anne Kisaka Nanguli, Dakar, Senegal. Number 3, Mr. Timothy Kaluma Mcharo, Algiers, Algeria. Number 4, the Honorable Christopher Andrew Langat, Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire. Number 5, Ms. Jessica Mudoni Gakenya, Rabat, Morocco. Number 6, Honorable Halima Yusuf Mucheke, The Hague, Netherlands. Number 7, Dr. David Kiplagat Kerich, Washington, D.C., United States of America. Number 8, Ms. Evelyn Mwenda Carissa, Havana, Cuba. Number 9, Dr. Peter Mutuku Mathuki, Moscow, Russia. Number 10, Ambassador Moi Lemoshira, Tokyo, Japan. Number 11, Mr. Kenneth Milimo Nganga, Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. Number 12, Lieutenant General Jonah Mwangi, Tehran, Iran. On number 13, Mr. Abdi Aden Korio, Muscat, Oman. C, permanent representatives. 1, Ms. Gertrude N. Angote, to the United Nations Environment Program, UNEP. 2, Ms. Grace Atieno Okara, United Nations Habitat. 3, Dr. Fancy To, Ambassador, Permanent Representative, Geneva, Switzerland. 4, Mr. Ekitela Erastus Lokali, United Nations, New York, United States of America. D, Consuls General. Number 1, Mr. Ezra Chiloba, Los Angeles, United States of America. Mr. Charles Gidinji Keiru, Goma, Democratic Republic of Congo. Mr. Aden Mohamed Mohamed, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. And number 4, Mr. David Iboko Lokemer, Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Honorable members, in accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 45-1, I hereby refer the message and the curriculum vitae and testimonials of the nominees to the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations for consideration. Honorable members, Section 8 of the Public Appointments, Parliamentary Approval Act 2011 provides that unless otherwise provided in law, the committee to which such nomination is referred shall consider the matter and table a report in the House for debate and decision within 28 days. In this regard, the committee is expected to immediately commence the approval process and thereafter table its report on or before Tuesday, the 16th day of April 2024, to enable the House to consider the matter within the statutory timelines. I thank you. The Right Honorable Dr. Moses F.M. Wetangula, EGH MP, Speaker of the National Assembly. Yeah, so the message is so delivered. We go back, therefore, to the National Disaster Risk Management. Do I assume all these requests relate to that particular bill? The Honorable Lisa Chelule? The Honorable Lisa Chelule? The Honorable Emmanuel Wangwe? The Honorable Dan Mwashako? The Honorable Ibrahim Saneh? The Honorable David Kiplagat? The Honorable Gertrude Mbeyu? You want to speak to this, or it was on a different issue, Honorable Mbeyu? Different interest. The Honorable Wilberforce Oundo, the MP for Funyula. You want to speak to this? You may proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to support the National Disaster Risk Management Bill, National Assembly Bills number 24 of 2023. Honorable Speaker, as you have clearly mentioned, this bill was presented in this House in the last term, and for some strange reason, I think we don't know, they either didn't complete it or to transmit it to Senate, and it never saw the light of the day, or it was never processed to the logical conclusion. Honorable Speaker, the world is changing rapidly, and is changing either way, positively or negatively. And we always say, we are always a disaster away from a disaster. We are just a point away from a disaster. A disaster can happen anywhere, anytime. And that's why it's always important, when we define a disaster, we need to have a broader approach in defining a disaster. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, as we stand here today, this country has recorded very many disasters. And I look at the word disaster in the sense, in the fully negative aspect of it. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, a good society, a progressive society, must hinge its management of affairs on three things. Number one, anything can go wrong. Number two, anything can go wrong anytime. And number three, we must be prepared to face when anything goes wrong, so that we minimize the loss as a result of anything goes wrong. Honorable Speaker, it's a fairly elaborate bill, and I want to start, Honorable Speaker, by picking out some areas that requires attention. And I hope the chair or who has moved the bill is listening. In any case, if he's not listening, the Hansard is recording. Number one, Honorable Speaker, from an academic point of view, from a theoretical point of view, the definition under clause 2 of risk is restrictive, is outdated, and is no longer applied. A risk, Honorable Speaker, does not always have to be negative. A risk can be either positive.
Order, Honorable. Honorable Kirima, what is out of order?
He has abandoned his point of order. So, Speaker, my 1 minute has been eaten off as he was trying to abandon his point of order. So, Honorable Speaker, as I was stating, clearly, a risk is an occurrence of unforeseen event. Basic. Whether it's negative, whether it's positive, a risk should be defined as an occurrence as unforeseen event. A risk should be seen as an occurrence of unbudgeted or unexpected event. Honorable Speaker, here they have already defined risk as a combination of probability of an event, and should be an event occurring, and its negative consequences. Again, we already have now a negative approach to addressing disaster. Honorable Speaker, let me give you a very typical example. Floods that end up in Budalangi, they come from Mount Elgon, and they come all the way to Budalangi. As they come down, Honorable Speaker, they come with fish. As much as people get displaced temporarily, but once the water subsides, they have an abundant harvest of fish. It's never just about a disaster. It's never about the negative consequence. Honorable Speaker, when there's rapid flow of water, as the water comes, if we do dam harvesting, water tapping, is not a negative consequence at all. So, Honorable Speaker, I would want the committee to look at this matter, and I will definitely look at it. Again, that's what I'm saying. The bill is drafted from a negativity point of view, from a negative point of view. Honorable Speaker, then when you go to disaster risk management, again, we are so consummated with addressing or responding post facto response, instead of finding out why do risks occur. In the US, Honorable Speaker, they can predict through history